everybody, I'm Cassandra Donnelly from Creative Passages, and today is October 13th, 2024, and I want to present what I've been up to from September 23rd till yesterday, October 12th. As you can see here, I have a big pile of work, and so I would like to share that with you. I did work 6 days this week, so I've been a little bit busy, so this video is a little bit late, so I apologize for that. Did some journal work. I'll get to that in a minute. And I did 2 canvases. These are 8x10 canvases, mixed media. So this one was done on September 28th. You can look at that. There will be a video on this one. This one was a lot of fun. God did begin to show me a theme for this one, which is that all things become beautiful in its time. So that's the theme of this one. I don't want to say too much. In fact, God has to give me more. Okay, this was another mixed media one I worked on. What is that? Oh. This one is called I Will Praise Him Regardless. And so there's a little tiny person right there who's praising God. That's all the praise going up. And there's like a storm coming, or he's in the middle of the storm, but he's praising. And so there's all this disaster and calamity and just adverse circumstances. But there's these 2 flowers growing amidst all the adversity. So he's praising God regardless, and it's changing the atmosphere, and he's seeing growth despite the darkness of the circumstances. So that's my second one, 8x10 mixed media. I'm thinking about adding a little bit more shadow here. I kind of been going back and forth with that. This one was started in my beach video, which will be coming up later, but you don't see me make the whole thing. Most of this was made off camera. Then aside of that, I updated this one. This one is going to have a video. These are masterboards that you can add to your journal. You can make smaller journals out of them, different types of journals. You can make journal cards out of them. You can make journal tags out of them. And so different things. This one I'm really pleased with. This one you see me make on a future video. So what I did this past 10 days is I added more of a blue acrylic ink to it, and I added all these little details with the paints, things like that. So I don't want to say too much about that. You'll see it in another video. And then I made a few jelly prints, and mostly I just decorated scraps of paper. So if I'm cutting paper up, like this for instance, there's leftover paper usually. So I'll take that leftover paper, and then when I'm doing jelly prints, I'll take the scrap pieces of paper, and I'll also lay them down on my plate to get up whatever I don't need on the gel print. And then I like doing mark making, so I'll put different marks. So this is a gel print with red and then like a dark bluish black, and then I just painted on some gold streaks. And then this time around I really made use of some glazes. So I had this red glaze I made too much of it, so a lot of these will have red glaze on it. So these are all gel print scraps with the red glaze on it. This one was just leftover paper from a journal, like Dollar Tree paper. I think it's fun to do your scraps. This one was another scrap. This is basically packaging paper. This is medical exam paper. It's another scrap. I did a little bit of mark making with the gold there. It also has the pink glaze on it. This is this is rice paper, but you can't hardly tell. It feels like medical exam paper, but it's rice paper, and it has that pink glaze and plus some gold painted on it. This one also is a brown packaging paper with a lot of the blue, and so a lot of these actually have distress oxide sprays on them as well. I'm going to try to go fast with this. This one is just regular copy paper that's been coffee dyed and then I just made it into a gel print, and then it's also got the pink glaze on it. This one was the packaging paper, and it was a gel print, and actually this was an under paper, and so that whole brown packaging paper was under papers, and there was a big blob of paint here, and so I put a jelly print on it, like right there with that stencil, and it fit in right there really well, and it's got a pink glaze. This one was a coloring sheet. You pretty much can't see it at all. I did actually color the whole thing. I don't typically do coloring sheets, but I did it in group at the request of somebody else who wanted me to join in. And it's got blue acrylic paint, and then I also did some asymmetric writing with the white gel pen, and it's got the pink glaze as well. And then I did one digital piece. And I printed out the digital piece on mixed media paper. I'm not happy with this yet. And I did the digital piece on Coral Painter 23. I got the Coral Painter 23, which I was really happy to get. So I was playing around with it, and I took two jelly prints and combined them. You can see which ones I combined next. Alright, so I combined those two on the background of the other, and then I made this. And then my idea is, which I didn't get to it yet, I meant to, is to add to this my own marks, and I could put this in my journal page. I wanted to print it out bigger, but I printed out 5 by 7 because it just didn't print out very well in a larger size, so it's going to go in my journal eventually. And then I made some collages. I'm not done with the gel print, so this is one collage I made on September 27th. And then this is another just drawing on, the collage was made on cardstock. This is also made on cardstock. It's just a marker drawing. I don't make a lot of marker drawings, but every once in a while I do. This is something I can use as collage fodder. This was another collage I made. This one I really like. This one was made on yellow cardstock, so that one's pretty cool in my opinion. And I made that one on October 7th. And then this one was an old collage that I made that I added some gel prints to. I added Distress Oxide to it, and I added the pink glaze to it, and I added some stamps to it. I don't know if you can see that right there. So this is something I can use as the background, or use maybe to make a journal tag. This was some glassine paper, and I used leftover pink glaze on it, and it just looked kind of boring, so then I put some collage scraps on it, and then I actually put it to the gel plate, and then I put more glaze on it, and I mamagami'd it. So that's what this one is. This one was a collage that I put some acrylic paint, some bronze color, and then I scratched into the acrylic paint. I'm not sure I'm happy with this yet, but it might make a good background, or it might be a good starter for a journal tag or a journal card. And then we've got more. Well, this one was an old collage, and it was pretty boring, to be honest with you, so I sprayed some Distress Oxide sprays on it, and then I put some Elmer's glue, and you can see how kind of dark the lines are. I think this is really cool. And I first made that on May 16th, 2024, and I updated it on October 7th. So this could be like a good background, or the start of something, or just a page by itself in my journal. This was an old journal. An old collage I made September 22nd, but I added that pink glaze to it. And it was pretty boring, to be honest with you, but I think this could be the start of a tag or something. This was a collage I made on pink cardstock, and I finished it on October 4th. This one I'm still working on. So far it's just oil pastels, and I plan on adding maybe some collage to it. This one actually, I started on October 10th, but like I said, it's still in the works, and I worked on it as of yesterday. This one is on green cardstock, and I made this one on October 9th. This one's pretty cool. This one has a lot of layers, and then I put a clear gesso on it, and I used permanent pens and gel pens on it. This one's pretty recent. It was started October 9th. I actually just finished it the other day though. And it's just mostly oil pastels, and it's got some collage papers, some scrapbooking papers on it. This is a gel print made on just regular mixed media paper. This is a gel print made on multimedia paper. This was very layered gel print with some gold marks on it, made on just copy paper. I made that on September 30th. This one was an oil pastel drawing made on October 8th. And it's kind of boring as is, I think, but it will make either good collage fodder, or I could take it to the gel plate, and add some marks to it, and that might be cool. These were all under papers that I added some marks to, and I added a glaze to this. This will all be followed with some scans of the papers. So these are all my under papers that I turned into collage papers. This one I added some marks with metallic watercolors. So rather than throw these out, I just think it's fun to turn them into papers that I can use. They're really grungy, but they'll make a good collage scrap, I think. And this is all medical exam paper, by the way. And then I've got a few other little scraps here. This was coffee dyed paper, and I just used that scrap on the gel plate. And then these are all watercolor paper scraps. And I meant to add some stamps to it. I didn't get around to it, but I'll just lay them on the gel plate, whatever paint I need to get up. And then I also added some gold marks to it. So sometimes, you know, just making marks on scraps is a lot of fun, especially if you don't have a lot of time. So I like doing that, and then I can use all these as collage fodder. Alright, but that's not all. I also work in my journal. Okay, so you've seen this page before, right here. But when I was in the middle of making some art, and I had a lot of collage pieces that fell onto my table, or they fall on the floor, rather than throw them away or even put them where they belong, what I did is I bunched them up, and I made like a little assemblage with the scraps. So the only thing that wasn't kind of just laying around was this little flower, which I put on top of it. So then I'm like, what can I use this for? Well, then there was another collage scrap, just like the ones I showed you, and I put that little cluster on top of the collage scrap. I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know, it was kind of like this collage scrap right here. I was like, I wonder where that will fit. And it pretty much fit exactly on my journal page. I was like, oh, that could be a jelly band. So that's what it became. It became a jelly band, and this page was pretty boring, so I put that jelly band there, and I'm really happy with it. But then I also made this tag. So you saw my last time where I had just this side done. Okay, so there was a moment I was on the telephone, and rather than stop working all together, I just made this little tag right here, and you see there's a little, and this was actually scraps left over from a project from my Psalms 102 group. So I had this scrap left over, that scrap left over, and I decided to combine them on this leftover scrap right here and put some gold fabric paint right here, and the word freedom, and a little ribbon scrap or lace scrap right there. And then it was too narrow really as a book tag, so I decided to put it on fabric. And then I decided to put that fabric on the back of this, because this side, the other side of it, was just plain white, and I added some ribbon. There you go. And I thought it fit really nice in here. So there, I made another page for my journal. And then also this time period, I had somebody who wanted to buy my journal page, which I didn't really want to sell at first, but I prayed on it, and I decided that I would, only if I could recreate it. Also, this time period, I made an alternative Keys to Victory. This is actually a print that I modified. That's a print as well, but I added some embellishments to it to look like the original without having to put in as much work. Okay, so this is the original. I had somebody wanting to buy this. I didn't really want to part with it, so I tried to come up with a fair amount for the cost, because it also had this on the back. So, but before I even would say yes to that, I needed to figure out if I could make a replacement. So I did. I printed out this picture, which I had scanned first, on watercolor paper, and then I glued it on this jelly print. I glued it on this jelly print right here. But before I did that, I did a few other steps. One, well, I printed, this was the trickiest part, was printing this part out. Okay, so I printed out as a 5x7, which of course is not as big as this. Okay, that's why I had to put it on the jelly print. And this part I had to print out as a quarter of the page, and that ended up being the right size. So for this part, the color was off a little bit. It didn't look that good, so I decided I would just put some fabric paint right there. This part here also looked a little boring, so I just put one little fabric and one little string and a button there. Maybe I should have added a few more fabrics, but I did that, and that seemed to spruce it up enough. Oh, and see this little red part? It was looking a little flat, so I added just a little red fabric. Of course, it's not exactly the same thing. This was watercolor paper here. So I wasn't trying to get it exactly, but I was trying to get the same feel for it. This one had the words here, and so I copied the words here so I would have it in my journal, put a little pink watercolor in the background. I did my key the same way. I found the same ribbon, so I put the ribbon there. The key I have for this one is slightly different, slightly bigger. I couldn't find the same twine, so I used a piece of raffia right there. Okay, and then I put crackle paste on certain parts of the picture to get the same texture as this, because this has crackle paste. Afterwards I realized this part right here I don't think was crackle paste. I think this was just modeling paste. But either way, I put crackle paste in here. I had to change the colors because when I put it on this gel print right here, which is really grungy, everything looks so blue, and it didn't really match this page a whole lot, which is mostly purple and yellow and greenish. So I kind of changed the color to blue a little bit.
pretty close to the original. It's got the same vibe as the original, even though I didn't spend as much time on it. Okay, but before I could glue this print with the crackle paste on here, I needed to put a pocket on here, and I didn't have the same paper as this because I used it, so I used one of my Mamagami papers. This was the collage one that I spent so much time making, and I actually like this pocket more than this one. This pocket's really nice. That's how I made my replacement to match that paper. So I'm satisfied. And so now somebody else can be blessed with this, and I'm still blessed. I don't have to go without it in my journal. Exactly the same. You can see it's pretty close. It's got much the same vibe. It's just a little bit more blue and gold versus the original. The original is on the left. So.
And this is the recreation of it. So I was really pleased to be able to do that. And then I also made another pocket with my special Mamagami paper, which there's another video showing you how I made that Mamagami paper. This was the Mamagami paper that was a collage at first, and made this great little background and this great little pocket, and I sewed all around it. So I didn't do a video on me making this pocket, but I did do a video on the Mamagami paper itself. I didn't necessarily do a lot this time period. Well, I mean, maybe you think I did a lot. I didn't do a lot of major projects, but I did do a lot of like little stuff, little marks that I can incorporate into my art. And as you notice, I like to use my own art to make more art. And so like when you have little pieces like this, I think it just makes it more personal. And I love having little pieces like this in my journal. And even, you know, my canvases like this, this is something that's more of a major work of art that I could maybe sell in the future. The other stuff is just kind of just for my journal and stuff. And I'm not sure yet what I'll do with my masterboard, but I can't wait to use it. So I'm looking up some things maybe that I could do with that. Bye everybody, have a great day.